Well, let's turn our attention now to a story we've been talking about all afternoon, the missing Yale grad student, Annie Lee, who left behind her cell phone, her purse, her credit cards when she vanished from a campus lab on Tuesday. She was due to be married in New York tomorrow. So was Lee a victim of foul play? Premarital cold feet? What exactly will investigators be looking into in order to try to figure out exactly what happened to her? Joining us now is Christopher Voss, who is managing director at Insight Security. He was the FBI's lead international kidnapping negotiator at one time, and we're glad you're here, Christopher. So let's talk about the surveillance video that shows Annie walking into this laboratory, but we don't have any videotape, or if investigators haven't been able to find any videotape of her walking out. Where is she?
Of course, the million-dollar question right now, and the fact that they haven't shown any or said that they had any videotape of her walking out. I mean, they're being cautious about what they know at this point in time to make sure that not only they preserve all the evidence, but that they preserve all the options, even the possibilities that she might still be alive. So they're treating this very carefully. They're taking a very calculated and cautious approach to this case.
You know, I have to mention that there were reports earlier today that a body had been found, reports that bloody clothing had been found, reports that some of the ceiling tiles inside that building on the Yale campus were bloody, and that perhaps there was some evidence there as well. Then the police come out, and we're expecting to get the awful news that they've discovered a body, and in fact, they categorically denied that a body had been found. They shot down those reports. Now, in their attempts to be careful, as you're suggesting that they are, could we just not be getting the full story from the authorities at this point?
Well, they are aware of the effects that what's being reported in the media has not only on the investigation, but also on the family. So they're making sure that things don't get out of control. The information begins to ricochet around too much and get too much out of control when it's inaccurate. Now, I watched that press conference also, and there didn't seem to be a lot of reason for that other than to say that they hadn't found a body. And they were being very careful what they had. So it sounds like that they have evidence, but they just don't want to let the information get out ahead of the actual investigation and have people get started going down the wrong paths.
But here's my question, and you know, and I don't want to second guess the investigators. They have a very difficult job, and you know, and my hat's off to them. But do investigators ever step up to a bank of microphones the way that those did today in New Haven, and purposely give wrong information to the media so that they can preserve some sort of line of questioning and the work that they're doing behind the scenes as they try to figure out exactly what happened to this young girl?
Well, that's an extremely risky thing to do, and none of these law enforcement agencies are in the business of lying to the media. So, you know, I don't think that they would do that. That's extremely unlikely. They're still very definitely wrestling with what they have and the proper way to address it in the media, and I think that was clear based on that press conference, that they are making sure their coordination behind the scenes is as much as it possibly can be.
Another question we have to ask, because this young woman was working in a laboratory. You know, she was a doctoral student, pharmacology. You know, I'm just wondering about chemicals or materials that might be contained inside a laboratory that could perhaps help someone dispose of a body if that was their intention to do so. Can you imagine or foresee anything inside of a lab on a university campus that might help Annie's killer, if there is one, to make her disappear?
Well, that's a possibility, but making a body disappear is a far more complicated and elaborate process than that. At the same time, many of the things that you need in order to make that happen, you can get at a local garden store, you could buy at a Home Depot, you could buy a lot of places other than the lab. You still have some logistical issues of getting the possibility of a body out of that building, which is pretty complicated. I think it's significant that there are reports that the Bureau has declared that building a crime scene. The FBI has a very robust evidence response team that will do a really good job of going over that building in its entirety and finding any evidence that there may be there.
Well, we wish the investigators all the luck in the world as they do that difficult job, and we certainly continue to hope for the best as long as Annie Lee remains missing, that she will show up safe and sound. Christopher Voss, Managing Director, Insight Security. Christopher, thank you so much for your time today.
My pleasure, Rick. Thank you.